Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We are on the Neighborhood Watch with your host, Perry Smith, News Director for KHTS AM 1220, and our special guest, as always, in the studio, Deputy Josh Dubin, Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station Deputy, and partner in preventing crime with KHTS here at the local station.
And all of our residents.
And
all of our local deputies.
The eyes and the ears, including Deputies Barlow.
And Crilly.
With the J-Team, keeping the streets safe. That's a great program, too, by the way. The J-Team came, Captain Becker, that didn't exist before Captain Paul Becker was here, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so they focus exclusively on preventing a younger generation from getting involved in crime, is that correct?
Correct.
So you can talk to me a little bit
There's
about
many facets of the J-Team.
Right.
Deputies Barlow and Crilly are out right now doing some enforcement. And he just sent me a text message that they're tuning in to the Neighborhood Watch in the patrol car.
Always like that. It's two more.
It's awesome.
+2. And then, I saw Detective Bill Velick was at Defiant, the symposium, so I know there's a community presence there with the J-Team talking about just kind of getting that message out. But what we were talking about before the break was with the wet weather, safe driving is so important. And
safe driving is important.
You had a few
especially
safe driving tips.
Today, we haven't had too much rain, and now it's raining.
I mean, we don't get really like torrential downpour. Like I was down south and you get rain so bad you can't see, or in Washington it just covers you all the time. But here, I think part of it is that people aren't expecting it out here. Or they're not used to it, I think, is part of the issue.
Correct.
I don't know.
And the roads are slick. The oils and debris are coming up from the roadways. We haven't had a good rain in a while, so that makes the road slick. So, wet weather driving tips.
You nailed that, by the way.
You like that? That was enthusiasm.
Let's turn it up a notch. You're like a 7. I want to do 8 or 9. How about that?
Copy that.
All right.
So, I got a bunch of tips.
Give them to me.
Are you ready?
To our listeners as well.
Most modern cars feature cruise control. The feature works great, dry conditions, but when used in wet weather, the chance of losing control of the vehicle can increase. Hydroplaning.
If you're not controlling the speed of your car, then someone else is.
Right. So. And, during wet weather, of course, common sense dictates you're going to slow down, you're going to increase your following distance, you're going to turn on the headlights when you're using your wipers. I posted that on our station Facebook page this morning about rainy day and turning on your headlights, and one of the comments that we got was, can you be cited for that? Can you actually receive a ticket for not having your headlights on in inclement weather?
Can you?
You can.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
So when you're in inclement weather, and the vehicle code talks about inclement weather, and you're using your windshield wipers, use your headlights. Turn your headlights on. Increase your following distance. It's safety. Just a basic safety
like
tips.
You're saying, common sense. Now, there was an incident this morning. I don't know, not to say it's common sense related, but there was a car that went over the side, right? Via Princessa.
Via Princessa and Whites Canyon. On
a little bit about that.
It had to do with the rain. I don't know all the details on it, obviously. Still an active investigation. It just happened an hour or two ago. But the car went over the side of the bridge, minor injuries. I spoke with the watch deputy this morning prior to coming over here, and we've had a number of traffic collisions this morning and close calls this morning that people have called the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station about.
Interesting that you bring that up, because I was there was a crash situation recently I was involved in, and the family member wasn't sure exactly what they should do. Do they call the sheriff's station? Do they just exchange information? And the other party was, just concerned, like, hey, do I need to call it? How do you gauge that? I mean, is that something as far as when do you get the deputies involved? When do you call the scene? Is that when there's injuries, or is that even necessary?
Especially when there's injuries, we would like to come out and take a traffic collision report. Okay. If it's what our radio code is, a 902N, which means
dropping a little radio code.
Yeah.
All right. 902N.
Which would be in a property damage only traffic collision, a minor fender bender, no injuries. You got a dent on your car or something like that. It's not necessarily necessary. That's a lot of necessary. To contact a deputy. You can if you want to, and we'd be more than happy to come out and take a traffic collision report. Okay. However, the law does dictate that you need to exchange information.
So the law doesn't mandate, hey, you make sure you call a sheriff's deputy and they have to take a report.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The law does mandate, however, that you need to stop. You need to exchange information, insurance information, identification, license plates of the vehicles, etc. And once you do that, you're covered within the confines of the law, and you're going to obviously want to contact your insurance provider after that if that's the route you're choosing to go.
What if you suspect the person smells like booze?
Then you can always contact a sheriff's deputy.
Then you want to call the sheriff's station.
Right.
Okay.
And, that goes along with if you see what you believe to be a driver under the influence, especially around the holiday times. We have a lot of holiday parties. We have a lot of work parties. different things like that. Excuse me. And if you are on the roads and you suspect that you see somebody that's under the influence or driving what you appear to be under the influence, that's a 911 call.
The slogan, if you see something, say something.
Right.
And if you, people don't realize this, but if you do call the 911, it goes straight to the sheriff's. Like, you guys receive those calls if someone's requesting a crime, right? Or
If you call 911 from your cell phone, it can either go to the California Highway Patrol or it could come to the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station. Or if you're in a different area outside of Santa Clarita, the cell towers and different things like that will send it to hopefully the closest law enforcement agency.
So it'll kind of route you based on your location and
Hopefully.
Okay. And you had a couple more tips. Let's get those out before we have to take a break.
Holiday tips
No,
or
the safe driving.
The safe driving tips.
Finish that up.
Headlights,
Headlights.
windshield wipers, no cruise control, slow your speeds, increase following distance.
And the rule is like 10 to 15 miles an hour below the limit, right?
If you can, obviously road conditions and weather conditions dictate. If you find yourself in a skid, remain calm, ease your foot off the gas, clearly steer in the direction you want from the front of the car, which way you want the front of the car to go, and be prepared to turn the steering wheel again and again to keep your vehicle going straight.
And the wheel keeps on turning.
Right. You don't want to necessarily slam on your brakes and cause the skid to get worse.
Sudden movements or overreactions will be, again, probably the key tip to avoid.
Right.
As far as that.
And I'll leave you with this. Today is a great day to check your tire pressure. Because tire inflation.
Leaving us, exactly true. Leaving us
There
for a
you go.
couple minutes.
That's all my wet weather driving tips that I have for today.
We're going to take a quick break. Thank you for that, Deputy Dubin. We'll be back with Dubin and Smith in the on your hometown station, KHTS AM 1220 for the Neighborhood Watch.